Absolutely delighted to be joined by Matt, Kim and Ichiro Takeuchi, who are the joint chairs of the APS Industry Committee. First of all, thank you very much indeed for taking the time to talk to us today. Really appreciate it. So what's the APS doing to forge closer links between academia and industry and encouraging young people to look for careers in industry?
Well, we have the Industrial Advisory Board, which you alluded to before, and that's really trying to figure out a methodology of how APS, if you look at the APS enrollment, when most physicists go into industry, yet the APS enrollment of industrial physics is very small. So we need to bridge that gap, and one of the ways we bridge it is by having this Industrial Advisory Board, but also having Industry Day that we have at the March meeting.
So Industry Day at the March meeting, tell us about it.
So Industry Day are actually this set of marquee invited sessions where we try to bring out the best in physics that's going on in industry. So over the years we've had different themes. I think one year it was additive manufacturing, and we often have sessions on quantum computing. And this year we decided there's so much going on in big data. And I mean, whether it's banking or internet traffic or social science, and just look around Washington DC area, everything is database and database companies. So we decided that it's a timely topic to have this session on the data science.
So how do physicists get involved in data science?
Well, so it turns out we have to deal with a lot of data every day anyway. I mean, especially if you're an experimentalist. These days it's about how to curate your data really well, because at the end of the day you need to be able to put together and organize information to write papers. So it turns out we've been doing it all along. It's just that the tools are getting better and better, namely the software and the computers.
Now, you talked about a gap. Why is there a gap at all?
There's a gap because the traditional way that physicists are taught is very different than the way engineers are taught. So I deal with both engineers and physicists, and one of the things is engineers are taught a skill set that is directly applicable to something in industry. Physicists are taught general skills in the sense of solving problems, very difficult problems, and so what happens is there's a consumption. In the consumption, you get consumed in trying to solve these problems, and you don't see the broader picture, whereas an engineer will say, oh, they'll use actual chipsets from maybe a company, they'll know the names of the companies, they'll know what they're doing, and they'll know which ones may be better. The physicists, on the other hand, a lot of these experiments are very esoteric and very difficult to do, but they're not using standard things that most industrial labs will use, and therefore, if you look at it, the engineers are much well-versed in where things go, and physicists aren't. And one of the problems is APS is mostly an academic organization, and that we're changing. We're getting more industrial people here, and there's a mandate by Kate Kirby to do that, and I think that will change.
My final question then would be, is what more do you need to do to bridge this gap?
We keep having more and more of these sessions. Like tomorrow, for example, we're going to have, as a part of the Industry Day, this is the second year in a row, we're going to have this Physics That Changed the World session.
Right.
And by going through the history, you realize, and we let people know that physics really matters. And without physics, that we wouldn't have the society that we have now. And this is the session that we have the midday tomorrow. And so it would be great if everybody can come to this session.
And so also one of the things is we're doing other outreach. So we're looking at other conferences. We're trying to invite many industrialists, entrepreneurs to join FIAP. And the way you do that is you have to realize the APS meeting is not industrial magnet because it's so theoretical and researchy. But what we found out is if you ask industrial people to come join us, they do, because they really find the value of working with physicists. So it will change.
Well, thank you both very much indeed for taking the time to talk to us today. Fascinating. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.